where did the idea for Property Entrepreneur Summit come from? For people that maybe have never heard of it, what is it firstly? And then also, where did that idea kind of come from and the development of that idea as well?
So before I was in property, I was in sales. So I was a business and sales coach for businesses. So my approach to property is quite methodical rather than from a position of being knowledgeable in property. So property for me was secondary rather than property being the main part. And then like sales is like a bolt on. And lots of people educate themselves so much on property. And they go to lots of events and they've always got that shiny penny that's shown in front of them. So today I'm a social housing expert, but I've just heard about supported living at this month's networking event, and they jump on it. And because they're only educating themselves at the same events in property strategy, the events are obviously trying to make it different every month. They're always being shown all these different ways of doing it, and they never really amount to much because they're always chopping and changing. So for me, I wanted to change the narrative that stop educating yourself on property once you understand the strategy that you want to do, and start educating yourself on business, because business is the only way that you're going to scale that business properly. Because again, lots of people don't see property as a business. It is. And within that business, there's so many different skill sets you need. Unless you're educating yourself on it, you're going to be wasting loads of money by outsourcing it. So they're my two passions. And I wanted to create some sort of hybrid event which attracted property people in. So the morning part is property, but then we bolt on business entrepreneurship in the second half. Because if we decided to launch a business event to people within property, we wouldn't get the turnout because mindset just isn't there yet. But what I think is most encouraging, and you probably felt the same when you came, most people get more value out of the second half of the day, and they're really surprised how much they enjoyed the second half. They were super excited to come and hear Simon Zucci, Sad Hussein, Rob Moore, but they come away learning so much more from people that they never heard of and skills that they never knew that they needed in their business. And it also exposes them as well. It makes it like they're relating to things that people are saying, and they're like, Christ, that's me. That's what I need to change. So I'd like to think that we've introduced something that wasn't available, and we've hit 2024 ground running with 2 sellout events.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously had the privilege of being at both, and I think the business talks no one had ever heard of them, but you did have Daniel Priestley and James Sinclair, obviously two big characters within the business world for sure. And I think the quality that was delivered at those events for such a compact day, I think I'm not aware of anything kind of similar that's offering that, firstly, that entry level value plus the value for the whole day as well. Obviously you get economy of scale with more people being there and amphitheatre style seating, but I think the quality of the event was amazing, to be honest, for the fact you've only done the first 2 this year, which is why I wanted to start with that question. What kind of goes on behind the scenes that people often don't see at these events?
Stress.
Yeah.
If you think property's hard and you're always putting fires out in property, do an event, because on the day you are like a swan. You are elegant on top, but you are kicking like mad underneath and you're constantly putting fires out. And I think the great thing is that a lot of people don't see that. So you come away from that event feeling sometimes disheartened and you think, I'm really disappointed in this. But the thing is, when you talk to people, they're not even aware of the things that you see as problems as being problems. They've come away with some huge value. But there are logistical nightmares with events as well. And unless you're doing an event where you're selling high ticket education, you can't afford to hire someone to take that burden off of you and hire teams to do it. So you have to wear every hat within that business. You have to be the person that even helps set up the stands and stuff like that. But then that's where the affordability comes into it. The people that we're wanting to attract to these events are the people that can afford £99 to attend an event. We're looking to help that level of person rather than the £500 event kind of people. We may potentially do one of those kind of events at a later stage, but for us, it's about getting it out to the masses and really educating people at a lower level within property that business is just as, if not more important than the property knowledge as well.
For sure. What do you think makes a successful event?
No selling. I definitely think that, kind of like going to the cinema and there being adverts, like it just distracts you from what you're going there for. So for me, I think no selling is really, really important. I think having a mixture of speakers, having the superstars there, because superstars add that kind of, what's the word, like razzmatazz around going to an amazing event and meeting your idol. But I think having smaller speakers that are more relatable as well is really important, because a lot of us can't compare to the Rob Moores, the James Sinclair's, the Daniel Priestley's, we're not at that level. And sometimes some of us would never aspire to be at that level or even imagine we could be at that level. But having someone who's maybe just hit their first million is a more achievable person to look up to, and we can relate to their story a little bit more, because where they are in their journey is maybe only 5 years ahead of us, rather than the Daniel Priestley's, the Rob Moores that are 15, 20 years in front of us and started out in a very different climate.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think some events you kind of do sit through the adverts first and then listen to the main speakers, be it monthly events or bigger events in some regards. But I think, certainly that balance that you created at the Property Entrepreneur Summit, I think works really well. That, you've got the likes of James Sinclair that, is a multi-business owner, multi-millionaire, very successfful personnel. But then you've got, the smaller speakers that are attainable. You feel like you can reach out and touch them, and they're not too far in the distance. So I think, it's really sort of credit to that setup in terms of what you, I suppose, have put in on the back end to deliver that successful event. In terms of like the people that are attending it, then, you've kind of alluded to the kind of shiny penny, get really excited, but never really take any action. Do you think that is a sort of procrastination within the sector? Do you think those individuals are afraid to take risks? Like what's your opinion on that kind of not outlook, but that kind of behavior, if we call it that?
I think it's a mixture, because everyone's different. I train a lot of people, and you have the people that have great intentions of getting started, but then life happens and they don't get started. Mm-hmm. You have the people that are too scared to get started. So what they do is they keep educating themselves because they say, I'm still learning. You have the people that are scared of the what ifs. What if it doesn't work? Well, it probably won't work, but you learn from that. You go again. There's so many different demographics of people that are not doing what they need to be doing for various reasons. But I think, again, that's where that business side of the event, where you could have someone talking about mindset, personal development, positivity, which is that kick up the backside, not just now you know everything in property, go out and do it. For some people, they don't have the mindset to go out and do that. So then having that pep talk from somebody that not in property, but they're in business, but can say like procrastination is this and this is how you get over it, is that thing that will spur them to go on and do. So I really do think that everyone has a different reason why maybe it hasn't quite worked, but ultimately it is just take the first step, and it's all in the action. And I'm always shocked how many people invest large sums of money into education and never do anything with it. Even if you try it and it didn't work, even if you try it and you don't like it, at least you've taken that step.